former referee, the podcaster, the broadcaster, here for Bellator 263. Big John McCarthy in the flesh. How we doing?
I'm doing good. How about you, Schmo?
The Schmo can't complain, man. We got a huge press conference coming up here. We got Pitbull, we got McKee, man. Where would you say McKee stacks up against all the competition Pitbull's had so far in the featherweight division?
I think he's a different animal than everybody that he's fought. He's similar in certain areas with other fighters, but as a complete package, he's a different breed than everything that Pitbull has found. And the length, the speed, those are all considerations that cause problems. Everything is about how smart a fighter you are. The one thing about Pitbull right now, Pitbull fights smarter now than he ever did in the past, and that's made him a much more dangerous fighter and a better fighter, and that's why he's winning all the time. He's got to do those same things, and he's got to hope that AJ does not fight smart. He hopes that AJ overextends, makes mistakes, tries to do something spectacular, and gets caught in those mistakes.
Would you say if Pitbull beats AJ, he is the greatest Bellator fighter of all time to date?
Well, up to this date, he is the greatest Bellator fighter. There's no one, if AJ beats him, I don't think that still takes anything away from what Pitbull done. He is the best fighter that Bellator has ever had overall. Take a look at everything he's done. Take a look at all the people he's fought. He has one fight that he did not come back and get a win against that person. Well, he had Benson Henderson. He broke his leg, was winning that fight against Benson, but broke his leg and stopped the fight in the second round. And then he had Joe Warren that he fought early in a tournament, early in Bellator, and he never got a chance to fight Joe Warren again. And there's no doubt what would have happened if they rematched based upon his skill set and how it's grown.
We got two people on this fight card connected to Khabib, the Dagestani guys, man. We have the cousins, we have the relatives coming here. What do you make of that type of competition coming here to Bellator? Do you see these guys holding gold straps?
They have the skill sets too, and that you take a look. There's a reason, why those guys are the way they are, and it's a lifestyle for them. The one thing that you'll see from a lot of the Eastern Europeans and the Dagestani guys and the Russians is this is not something they just do. This is their lifestyle. They don't take a lot of time off. They don't go and get heavy. They don't do things that are going to get them out of shape and then they have to come back and work their way back. They'll take a couple days off and they're right back in the gym, or they're doing things, they got like their crazy basketball they play that's with tackling and different things that they'll do, but those are all things to keep them in shape. And so they look at this as a profession. They look at this as, this is what I am. And so that's something that really makes them difficult, as far as they don't get those areas where they start to actually lose ground. They're always gaining ground. They're always getting better. They're always looking to improve. They're always going to places where they know someone knows something that they don't understand how to do. I'm going to learn how to do it from them. And so, you got Magomed Sharapov, Zabit, his brother is going to be here. Those guys are just unbelievable. Usman is unbelievable. They're all good, and that's the whole thing. They're good everywhere in MMA. They can stay in the fight, and they're different. Usman is not like Khabib. Usman loves the stand-up. He will wrestle when he has to, and he's really good at it, and he's unbelievable on top. But he wants to be on his feet, where Khabib always wanted to get the fight to the ground. They fight different, but they all have the same technical skill sets.
And the Josh Thompson work ethic over at AKA, they adopted that too.
Absolutely. When you can have conditioning as a submission hold, and that's really what it is. You're weaponizing your conditioning. You're making it so, I'm not going to get tired in this fight before you do. I'm going to push you to the point where now you are at a deficit, and now all my skill set comes and just starts to wash over you like a tidal wave. That's what they've learned, that conditioning is something that you're in control of. You're the one that decides if it's going to be there or not, so they're always going to have it.
Who does Big John McCarthy want to see the legend Fedor Emelianenko fight? If this is his last fight on the Victory Tour?
I personally, I hope it is his last fight, and he's been such a spokesman for the sport of MMA. He's such a classy guy. I've known him for a long time. I've done things with him, and he's so stoic in the way he presents himself to the public. But he's really a personable guy, and he's got it. He's funny. He plays practical jokes all the time. I really hope they don't go to anyone outside. I looked at everything, and Matt Mitrione seemed to be the guy that if he had won his fight with Tyrell Fortune, that one made sense to me because there was that fight that they had in New York. It was the double knockdown. Matt, ended up getting the win, well-deserved win, and it seemed like that was a fight that Fedor wanted back. Matt lost his fight. I honestly think I would go with Jake Hager. Yeah. And the reason I would go with Jake Hager is this. People can look and say, oh, he's a pro wrestler. Brock Lesnar was the guy that in the UFC they wanted to get Fedor to come in because they thought Brock Lesnar could beat Fedor. I'm telling you that wasn't going to happen, especially back then. Fedor was going to put it on Brock. But that never happened. But Jake is a real amateur wrestler. Had a 30-6, record as an All-American at Oklahoma in his senior year. The guy is the real deal when it comes to amateur wrestling. Yes, he's got the pro wrestling career, but that also brings eyes onto that last fight for Fedor. There's a lot of elements to it, being that Jake is a guy that in his last fight, I always look for things that happen, and Jake was in a fight, that last fight, he proved that he was a real fighter because he could have quit. He could have gotten out of that fight. He was taking big shots in the second round, and he came back in the third round and actually won the round to win the fight. And so he's a real fighter, and he's got real amateur wrestling skills. He has the ability to take Fedor down. He has the ability to do damage on the ground, so that's the fight I would do.
The depth and knowledge always on point. Let's stick to the heavyweight division, but to the other promotion, the UFC. We got an interim title fight at the heavyweight division. We all know what Scott Coker feels about interim title fights. What does Big John McCarthy think about this interim title fight between Gane and Derek Lewis?
I'll set this one to the side for a second. I have no problem with an interim title when you have a champion who's out. You have a champion who is, hurt and can't compete, and you don't want that division put on hold. That's not what's happening in this one. This is the one time that I'm going to look and say, I think the UFC is wrong. Most of the time I think they're right with their interim titles, but this one makes no sense because it doesn't matter who wins this fight. Be it Cyril Gane or be it Derek Lewis, and they're both very good fighters, and I really enjoy watching both of them. I'm not going to consider them a heavyweight champion. There's a guy named Francis Ngannou that's sitting there that's waiting, and he's got the real belt. It doesn't matter what happens in this fight. You could take Francis Ngannou and, not even have Derek Lewis or Cyril Gane, put John Jones. And if, John Jones wins, John Jones is going to be the heavyweight champion. It doesn't matter who wins this fight, and that's why it doesn't make sense for me as an interim championship. There was no need for it.
Can we get a final message for all the Big John McCarthy fans out there worldwide?
Final message. I just want to say thanks for putting up with all my crap all this time, and thank you for watching the sport of MMA. You are the guys that allow the fighters, the promotions, me, everybody to do what we love, so thank you very much.
Hey, you got the Schmo weighing in all the time. You're the pro. I'm the Schmo. Bellator 263 in Inglewood, California at the Forum. We're out.